Good evening and welcome to the programme that likes to shaft people in positions of power. Well, if it's good enough for Oliver Hoare, it's good enough for us. In the news this week, audiences tune in their millions to the new National Lottery show on Albanian television. In Westminster, the government admits that its new education policy may force more intellectually challenged pupils to stay down a year or two. And after Rod Hull announces plans to go solo, there's an unwelcome sight on his video entry phone. On Ian Hislop's team, a comedian who's been described as one of the most attractive things ever to come out of Essex, putting him right up there with Bradwell Nuclear Power Station, Alan Davies. And with our guest captain, Clive Anderson, is a dissident whose outspoken criticism of the Saudi regime led to Michael Howard's unsuccessful attempt to deport him to Dominica, making him the only person here to have refused a free trip to the West Indies, Mohammad Massari. Just like last week, we start with round one. Ian and Alan, a result just in for you.
Oh, beans? Oh, that's the whole Tory vote.
Norma, where are the keys?
That's a big Conservative.
Is it?
Oh, there's Sir James Goldsmith. So, there you have it.
What does it all mean?
And put it all together and you have...
The end of the Conservative Party.
Who did we see? One or two of those people you might like to pick out?
Helmut Kohl we saw.
Mm-hmm. Helmut Kohl?
Looking at some soldiers. I don't know, they always show people soldiers, don't they, when they come over? Look at these soldiers. Soldiers got nothing to do, have they, all week? Sit about cleaning boots and they go, oh, someone's come, stand up.
It's a general policy to show the German leader some soldiers.
Yeah, just to remind him. And what was the plate of beef doing?
That was médaille of beef, a French dish.
Glad you told us, because I don't think anyone would have recognised it from your pronunciation of it.
Oh!
Yes, it is the local elections, and the worst set of results for the government, since the last set of results, in fact. Recent crises at home and in Europe have dented the confidence of many Tory backbenchers. One unnamed minister said, you have to hit the bottom before you can rise again, although quite what he was doing at the time to make him think of such an image. Geoffrey Archer has entered the Euro debate by suggesting that Sir James Goldsmith, leader of the pro-referendum party, would be better off giving the several £1,000s of campaign money to Conservative Party treasurer, although Geoffrey must realise who in their right mind would hand over a couple of £1,000 to someone they hardly know for no good reason. Clive and Mohammad, the sound of spilling beans for you.
That's James Hewitt, isn't he? And that's Boris Pasternak, who wrote up his romance not with him. He's a very attractive bald man. Not many left. And this is the Duchess of York. Yeah. Has been splashed all over the papers again. And the story with the telephone, unpleasantly enough, is that apparently she was on the phone to her husband, the Prince Andrew, when she was spending money. And... or she was consulting with Johnny Bryan, her double-entry bookkeeper, and
apparently she was on Prozac, which means if you're on Prozac, apparently you can keep going for hours and hours, and so you are inclined to make calls.
Yes, it is. It's Royal Cads Week in the tabloids, with former lovers of Diana and Fergie both selling their stories. One startling revelation this week was that whilst Fergie was having affairs with Steve Wyatt, Johnny Bryan, and still seeing her husband, she was taking Prozac, a drug which reduces your sex drive, so just as well for the household cavalry that she was, by the sound of it. Ian and Alan.
Old bloke with a beard. Heard of old drunk people. Half the Arsenal team, probably. All thrown out the dressing room now, they aren't they?
It's a bloke with a beard. Probably George Bernard Shaw.
He's swapping football cards. They are. That's the Carlings in Happier Days.
Is this the story about poets?
It's a psychiatrist report. The thesis of the report was Byron said all poets are mad. Some academic university said, no, Byron's wrong, they're not mad. Look at playwrights, George Bernard Shaw, Ernest Hemingway, novelists, they're really mad. Quiz show hosts, bonkers.
Well, that is true.
In what
obviously,
respect was George Bernard Shaw mad? I mean, he died.
3 names. No need for that.
That would mean Robert Kilroy Silk was mad, wouldn't it? I see your point.
yeah,
Yes.
So, Mohammed, where would you put Salman Rushdie in all this?
Maybe we should let him kiss that garlic-eating lady at the end.
Now, there's a liberal punishment. Kissing a garlic woman. It's better than a death penalty, isn't
Yes,
it?
I think he might settle for that, actually, to be honest. And finally, Clive and Mohammed.
That's Terry Venables. That's
Singing that.
that's singing footballers, always a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's Glenn Hoddle scoring a goal.
Excellent goal, yeah.
And that Ruud Gullit, who has got lots of Dutch caps, hasn't he?
That's
And
not the biggest story. That's not the biggest story. I think the biggest is that some North Irish MPs claim that Saudi Arabia is an excellent democracy.
who was the Irish MP that did that?
What was his name? Ian must know. He has that in private eye.
Yes.
Pressure's on.
It's all coming back now. He was an Ulster Unionist.
Apparently, in
Could be
Saudi
quite
Arabia,
glamorous.
they've got 6,000 princes, I read, so the king's busy, isn't he?
So we covered the story there, have we?
Yes, you
The,
seem to have
Glenn
covered a
Hoddle-
completely
was
different
football.
story. There is a connection with Cliff Richard. Do you know what that is?
Cliff Richard, he's
Does
not
he
the
play
England man.
football?
Cliff Richard, no, he's a pop singer, Ian.
Oh, I see. Right.
They're both fairly committed Christians, Glenn Hoddle and Cliff Richard, and they've both been on top of the pops, which was a revelation. Yeah.
Yes, it is the appointment of Glenn Hoddle as England manager. When asked about his views, Hoddle said that he had chosen Jesus. Once again, Matt Letizia cruelly overlooked. And so to the end of that initial round, and the scores are as alike as two peas in, well, almost any situation, to be honest, being as they are 4-4. Before the breath of fresh air that is round 2, we have to expose the panel to the toxic emission of our caption competition, Clive and Mohammed. Here's yours to ponder. Ian and Alan, this for you.
We've been nobbled over here, I'd like to point out.
Have you? I'm very sorry to hear that.
We've got a monitor that spins round, so you can't see anything from what...
I'm sorry,
We've got interference from the Home Office here. No. It's obvious.
They forgot to tell you, if you lose, you're deported.
Sorry. What's happened in the case of win?
In case you win, you're still deported.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But Michael Howard goes with you.
Okay. It was a good venue, Dominica, for you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because its main produce is pork.
It's entirely false. It's not pronounced. It's pronounced Dominica, and the main produce is bananas. As you'll have seen if you watched Our Man in Dominica.
Time now then for a round concerning censorship, which for legal reasons can only be referred to as round X. 2 lovingly crafted film sequences dredged from the cutting room floor. All the teams have to do is identify which of the images have in certain countries been deemed unfit for public consumption. The first selection hails from the sunny climes of Saudi Arabia, so Clive and Mohammed. Which of the following have been given the chop?
Oh, that's Jonathan Aiken. He must have been banned.
No. He's very welcome.
Popular. Saddam Hussein.
Saddam is banned.
Back
This is
pain. Back
there,
pain. Banned back pain. It says.
McDonald is okay.
Mark Thatcher. He was banned for never using his influence with his mother.
He's welcome.
Yeah.
He's welcome.
Camels. They were.
Camels are they banned there?
They were banned
No, they are
in
not.
Walthamstow because you can't fit them in the traps. But
This lady,
Barbara Carlton. She's one of our top novelists.
one of her books is banned there.
If she's being
not
sent to
mad, though,
Dominica
not
with
that
you
other
as your prize.
The company is not very excited there.
It is. It's very nice people.
No, I mean the lady.
Oh, the lady. Oh, she's very exciting.
She's about
Yeah?
200
Yeah.
years old
You know
now,
her
isn't she,
personally?
Barbara Carlton?
I don't know her personally. I've never actually, as it were.
The pleasure.
No, absolutely not.
you
But
don't- If you don't, I don't.
no,
I wouldn't dare.
I can
wouldn't dare
fix an
try.
introduction. I can swing it for you.
You're watching Face to Face.
She must have been banned in Saudi. There must have been one of
Yeah.
her books was so raunchy that it was banned.
Very good.
At least-
Saddam Hussein was banned by the task force, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Saddam Hussein was actually representing the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, so it's not Saddam on his own.
Representing it. He led
Yes.
it. He didn't just represent it. My lord, I represent the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait.
I don't think back pain's banned, but I think drawings of girls' bums are banned.
Yes,
They're
you're
blacked
right.
out by some bloke at the airport, aren't they?
He goes,
gets all the
"Bum!"
back pain ads. And...
I shall give you 2 marks for that, but I'll also give 1 to Ian because he got the back support ad. A picture of Barbara Cartland's face in an imported edition of the Daily Express appeared to have been blacked out by censors because she was an erotic image of Western decadence. An advert showing the naked shoulders of a woman was blacked out in the Daily Express. The ad was for a special support designed to ease nagging back pain. Ideal if you've just been flogged for looking at pictures of Barbara Cartland. McDonald's is not banned in Saudi Arabia, although the member of staff who greeted Prince Faisal with the question "extra thick shake" only narrowly avoided execution. The Saudi regime banned all news of Iraq's invasion of Kuwait for several days because they'd given Saddam Hussein $5 billion to develop a nuclear arsenal on condition that if he succeeded, he'd transfer some weapons back to Saudi Arabia, which Saddam, of course, was later happy to do, attaching them to the end of a few Scud missiles. Ian and Alan, your censored clips come from the cradle of democracy, the United Kingdom. So what's out of bounds here?
That's not allowed, is it?
That's not allowed in my flat. I know that, mate.
He's allowed now. Didn't used to be.
Tickle me. Oh, what a great game.
Was that Train Spotting? I
Injecting.
haven't seen it.
Sarah Keys.
Oh, that's The Economist. That's not banned.
And load of Babs Cartland's boyfriends.
Morris dancing was banned during the Commonwealth, wasn't it?
Quite right.
So that's right.
Jerry
so
Adams
so
was
it's in fact
banned.
not right because we're looking for at current things that are censored, not things that were censored many years ago.
Well, wait a minute, you said,
16th
and
century
I quote
answer.
you, things that are banned or have been banned.
Hey, you're not in
Yeah,
court now, you know.
That's the past tense, Angus.
I think you'll find that it was what's out of bounds here was the question, which is a reference
Is out of
to...
bounds or has been out of bounds used. My junior has written it down, haven't you, Mr. Knight? Yes. Thank you very much, thank you.
Chelsea pensions haven't been banned, have they? They've been banned?
Yeah, from most pubs.
Have they? Because what about the soldiers?
Soldiers, yeah, what
The
about the
Gulf
soldiers?
War.
That's,
We're not allowed
that's
to talk
exactly
about the
what
fact
it
that
is.
they were given a lethal cocktail of drugs.
It's homosexuality in the army is banned. They were clearly homosexual.
Clearly not in that
soldiers.
picture, they were all
They
laughing.
were. They were clearly homosexual soldiers. Sarah Keys, you're not allowed to refer to Sarah Keys or who the father of her child might or might not be.
It was Cecil
Or-
Parkinson.
No, he wasn't saying that.
Parkinson.
You're not allowed
No,
to
she
mention
mustn't
that.
say that.
It's
We
not,
can say that.
There's a very strict order on Sarah Keys,
Yes.
and indeed everyone else. It's called a Mary Bell order.
Yes.
And you're allowed to say Mary Bell because that's not the daughter's name. The daughter's name is the same as the name of the margarine.
Well, we're allowed to say Mary Bell because it's the name of our executive producer.
Well, that's fascinating.
Stork.
No, Stork
I
was
can't
the
believe it's
father.
not butter.
Stork was the father.
All the items shown have at some time been censored, including Morris dancing, Jerry Adams, and the impersonation of Chelsea pensioners, which was a capital offence at one stage.
A capital offence.
Capital offence.
You put
saying
a red coat on and went...
That's now.
But the elements currently subject to censorship are Gulf War syndrome, which I think Alan mentioned, an expose in The Economist about electricity mergers, and the illegitimate daughter of Cecil Parkinson and Sarah Keys. The Ministry of Defence has refused to acknowledge the existence of Gulf War syndrome. Whilst the Americans have pledged £100 million to research the illness, the MOD has leapt into action and burnt 50 boxes of Gulf War medical records. But then, as they were all written by doctors, you probably couldn't have read them anyway. Lord Parkinson and Sarah Keys' daughter is the subject of court injunction forbidding any public discussion of her. Newspapers are now obliged to refer to her as Child Z, though it's hard to imagine that even Cecil could have worked his way that far through the alphabet. And so the scores at this stage are that Clive and Mohammad have a largely depressing 7, whilst Ian and Alan have a depressingly large 8. Of all the rounds in this programme, round 3 is the odd one out because none of the others are called that. Clive, some familiar faces for you. Michael Howard, Mohammed's mate.
Yes.
Letitia Dean, off of EastEnders. Rupert Allison MP, and the McLibel 2.
They look bright, don't they?
This is a legal question, isn't it? Because the McLibel Joe, I think, are still trying to win their case against McDonald's. It's still going on.
Yep, they suggested there was beef in the burgers.
Yeah. I don't know about Letitia Dean, because has she had it was Gillian Tailforth who lost the case on that smutty story about the Range Rover and all that. So,
Low job, Clive, that's what you're trying to say.
No, it's definitely a Range Rover. Well, over to my learned friend from Saudi Arabia and Dominica.
They get EastEnders there, I'm sure, don't they?
It looks like our young Tory MP is the only one with a worn-out shoe.
Yes. Right.
We normally like to make it a little harder than that.
Yes. The McLibel 2 haven't lost a case yet.
No.
They're the odd ones up.
The wrong answer. The answer is that all of them have represented themselves in court.
Apart from Michael Howard.
Apart from Michael Howard, who has lost 10 cases over the last 2 years.
Not being present.
Despite being a barrister himself, Michael Howard has chosen not to represent himself, as he doesn't want to damage his reputation by acting for such an obvious loser. Mohammad, your creature comforts are an in-flight fountain, a mobile garden, a chauffeur's, and a single-step escalator.
Okay. Now, the single-step escalator is very clear. This is for King Fahad. He has very bad joints and knees, so he's using that.
Bad joints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Right.
knees.
Right. Fair enough. No.
The in-flight, is that in a plane? In a plane?
Yes,
Yeah.
in flight, yes.
Can
It's,
be only,
it's in the...
can be only Saudi Air Force #1, used by King Fahad. He loves fountains. He has the biggest fountain in the world in Jeddah, so he must have one in the plane. And this, what's this? Is a mobile...
A mobile garden, yes.
Yeah, he wants to imitate the famous Babylon gardens, which were built upstairs in this tower. What was the name of the tower where the people lost their speech?
The hanging car park of Babylon.
Yeah. And this is the towed one, the towed.
Yeah. Right.
And this is a female chauffeur, very obviously very nice looking. All these things he can show, but the female chauffeur he cannot expose or show.
I am resigning if we don't get full points for that answer.
Yeah, so you get full points for a near perfect answer.
Yeah, I think. Oh, well done.
Yes, the answer is that they're all owned by King Fahd of Saudi Arabia, apart from the chauffeurs. Saudi women were briefly allowed to drive during the Gulf War, but were then banned again after King Fahd invoked the Saudi royal doctrine that a woman's place is in Knightsbridge shopping. King Fahd's personal yacht sports a vast mobile garden, which was at the centre of a recent diplomatic row when the Sultan of Brunei moored his mobile garden alongside and refused to trim the privet.
I hope these merry quips are worth all the contracts that Vickers and the British Aerospace are losing now in the Middle East as a result of this programme.
It's the only time on record that this government has complained about job losses. Usually if a large firm lays off, say, 50,000 people, they say, fine, efficient, trim, good, healthy. Arms company lays off 50,000 people, bloody Massari losing jobs. And there's the end of the broadcast.
Yes. On behalf of Private Eye.
BBC, you mean?
On behalf, no, that was a free speech broadcast. Sometimes you speak complete balls, Massari, but I defend your right to speak it.
Thank you.
Well, you don't have to. And you compete.
Alan, your kindred spirits are a disabled person, Michael Portillo, some IRA files, and a floor mop.
OK, then a mop. Good.
The IRA have started wearing glasses, which is top secret.
Because they've been negotiating so hard for ages, they're starting to lose their sight like Donald Pleasance in The Great Escape.
All these four.
We haven't finished yet.
I was
just making a couple of jokes before we get into trying to answer this thing. Portillo is, I don't know about him, he looks like he's behind bars, which would be a result, wouldn't it? But this bloke here in the wheelchair is clearly going out, otherwise he wouldn't have put his hat on, would he? So I think it's the bloke in the wheelchair because he's out and about and everything else is locked up in the cupboard.
That's the most pathetic answer.
All items here are useful except Mr. Bordello.
I'm going to give you 1 point for that because you picked the right
Why are you
person.
giving him
Well
a point?
done.
Because you picked the right person, I just told
Okay,
you.
fair enough.
But the right reason was given by you, Alan, because it has to do with cupboards. The answer is that they can all be found in a Ministry of Defence cupboard or closet, with the exception of Michael Portillo, who believes that any soldiers who come out of the closet must leave the army. And as he's Minister of Defence, who are we to argue? It was revealed in February this year that people in wheelchairs are to be put in cupboards when there's a fire. That's according to recent MOD guidelines for new buildings. There are to be cupboard-like areas where disabled persons will be placed for safekeeping during a fire. An MOD spokesman admitted the choice of the word cupboard was unfortunate. They've since changed it to oven. And finally in this round, Ian, your 4 national institutions are the RAF, New Labour, St Wilberforce, and Victor Khayyam.
This is a beard question. St Wilberforce prayed that people would stop hassling her, sort of medieval sexual harassment case, and said, please make me extremely ugly so blokes don't... This is true. So knights and clerics and other honourable chaps don't hassle me. And overnight she grew a beard. And you're not allowed a beard in the RAF.
No, because when they went blue leader, you just get...
You're not allowed a beard in the Labour Party. If you do, you get a rotten job on the front bench and you're called Robin Cook. Victor Khayyam runs a shaving firm. They're all anti-beard. Violently
She isn't. The same
Except her.
Well, that's why she's the odd one out, you fool.
Is
I'm
the right
helping.
answer.
I'm helping along. We're all day on this one.
Yes,
Excuse me, we have a contribution from a beard.
Yeah.
So that's... so that deserves a mark already, doesn't it? You've grown a beard just so as you can get this question right.
You used to be Fatima al-Massari, didn't you?
But
I knew it!
I have another point.
Right.
What if this New Labour is the odd guy out? Because the Air Force could promise and do some delivery if they don't miss the target as usual. This gentleman promised good shaving devices, and this is a saint. If she promises, she fulfills. But the Labour Party will never deliver on its promises.
It's too late to suck up to Michael Howard now. No, I think you may have just swung it. I think welcome to our country for another 4 years. And would you like to run one of our new boot camps? And you can...
I would give you the points. Unfortunately,
Ian's right.
Ian got exactly the right answer. The RAF disapprove of beards for safety reasons. They're also hoping to discourage homosexuality in the force by making young officers adopt a more traditional look: cropped hair, handlebar moustache, and a leather flying jacket. Which astute practices crown this penultimate round, and the position is that neither side seem to have it in them, quite frankly, to assume responsibility for a lead, both clinging to 11. So time now for the battle of wit, knowledge, and above all, blind guesswork. That is our missing words round. The usual parade of black oblongs covering one or more parts of a headline, some of which may be taken from this week's guest publication, the famous classified ad magazine Loot, priced £1.30, only one careful owner. So, Brian was my biggest what?
Johnny.
Mistake.
Johnny Brian.
Mistake?
Makes sense.
Biggest toe I ever sucked in my whole life.
Yes, Brian was my biggest mistake, Mohammad said.
Exactly, well done. Goodness, you're still here.
As previously...
Can you come back in 5 series time? Okay. No.
No. Maybe if we go to Dominica, we can.
Dominica.
Dominica.
Dominica,
Sorry,
different country.
maybe if we go to
Dominica.
Dominica.
That's it. Never
All
find
these
him.
people showing that they didn't watch your programme, Clive.
Yeah.
Must be very hurtful.
Did you have a programme on?
He has.
Next, what with extension, good condition, £18.
Hair with extension. Slide rule.
No.
Slide rule with extension.
No, it's not the right answer. Answer is hamster cage.
Oh no, I saw that one. I saw that.
Next, coal may eat what?
2 dinners and still want more?
Everything. He can eat everything.
John
I think he will
Major.
eat his words.
Yeah. May eat British beef and pretend to go mad just to spite us.
Oh, coal may
British
eat
beef. British beef.
Médaillon.
His words was the correct answer that Mohammad gave. Next, what saves climate on Everest?
Big woolly jumper and a hat. Opening up a cafe, making a few quid and getting a flight home.
Yeah.
Off-peak call is in fact the answer, but it was Eamon Fullen who phoned his wife in Hong Kong, and she in turn organised an airlift for him from Everest. So,
On his mobile.
Well, whoever thought that.
on his mobile, yeah.
You got service right up there.
Yeah.
That's very good, isn't it?
And finally, what? Never been used, no time wasted, £175.
What, cow?
Tory brain, never been used, no time to waste.
French lessons.
Never been used. Never been used by you, apparently. But yeah.
Judging by your médaillon, would be. No, the answer. Coffin is the right answer. Never been used, no time wasters.
No time wasters, you're dead. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Stop wasting my time!
Which parting shots bring us flailing to the end of this evening's scrap, and the verdict is that this week's silly asses are Ian and Alan with 13, whilst this week's clever dicks are Clive and Mohammad with 15. So, a night in bed with Pamela Anderson to our winners, a night in bed with Clive Anderson to our losers. But before we all say good riddance, we must first pay a joyless return to our caption competition. Clive and Mohammad, what do you think of for this?
So Mr. Hislop wants to do one on this.
Yes.
No, I can't. I'm just too filled with hatred at the sight of a bunch of lawyers.
Is this why you always lose your cases in court, Ian?
I do not always lose.
Oh, don't you?
We drew one once.
Well done. Woolly helmet gang. On the rampage.
Actually, all those lawyers are breaking the law.
A lot of them. No,
Every
they're on
one of
private.
them.
They're on a racetrack. They're all
Yeah.
right, mate.
No,
No, they've all got their helmets underneath their wigs, which is it's a nice trick if you can do it. But
Ian
you've got to
and
amuse
Alan,
yourselves in robing room somehow.
this is yours.
Liam and Noel Gallagher chill out backstage after I
On which dubious note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Alan Davies, Clive Anderson and Mohammad Al-Massari. And I leave you with news that Hong Kong police have expressed reservations about the design of their new riot shields. Liverpool police admit that the city's shoplifting problem may be getting a little out of hand. And there are still no winners in this week's Puzzler magazine Spot the Difference competition. Good night.
In 45 minutes, join Skinner and Baddiel for fantasy football here on BBC Two.